All right. Welcome back, everybody, to Sunset Cast. You can see Dylan got a little more tan this time. His skin color's changing a lot recently. He's been in and out of the sun a lot. It's been changing. He looks a little different. I don't know if you guys can tell. I can see it. The last episode, we were talking about how he looks a little different. Now he really looks different. All jokes aside, today, Cody and Dylan were not able to be here with us. So we have two guests today on the podcast. We have my mom behind the camera doing the sound.
Hello, everybody.
She's a little nervous.
All right.
And then we have my Theo Danny over here on my right, your guys' left, depending on how you're watching it on the screen, which would be weird if you're watching it inverted. But either way, it's my Theo Danny here. He has come all the way from Arizona. I had talked about him a couple episodes ago and what God's been doing in his life, how God's been transforming him. His testimony is really powerful. Just me knowing him since, obviously he's my Theo, so ever since I was born, I've known him. But just knowing his story and knowing how far he's come has been huge. Seeing his transformation, seeing how God's changed his life has been so inspiring and it makes me happy. When you see somebody else doing good that you love, I know maybe some people watching, they can say the same, right? Where somebody was not doing so well in their family, whether they're sick or struggling financially or whatever it was, and then that person starts to do good, right? And then it just makes them happy, right? You see somebody you love, you see your friends start to succeed, you see different people in your life start to succeed, and it makes you happy. So it makes me happy to see where you're going, where God's taking you, where God's putting you. So yeah, let's get into it. So for the record, state your name.
Daniel Bravo.
Yes. Thank you for the people in the crowd. We appreciate you guys.
Thank you, everyone.
So I guess we'll start off with, what was your, let's relax a little bit. Let's how was your trip? We'll ask that first. How was your trip?
It was everything was just new to me. Still becoming every day that passes by, still new to me. Being able to travel alone with my daughter, God got me back. She gave me back. He gave me back my daughter. My son's about to come on the 10th.
Okay.
But it was just me and my daughter on the flight over here, and we were just having a good time on the plane. Acting a fool. And then she was getting a lot of love by all the other passengers, and she was so good on the flight over here. It was just I thought it was gonna be like chaotic.
Right. You see it in the movies and everything. Like,
yes, all I heard was wah, wah,
Yeah.
before she even got there. But no, turns out she was just enjoying the view. She's like, look.
Oh man.
She was like noticing everything. Everything was new to her. Even like as soon as we walked in the airport, she was just like looking around everywhere, talking to everybody.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And it was just a peaceful and joyful trip.
Yeah. So, have you ever flown before?
Yeah.
Okay.
But not with the sound mind though.
Okay.
Not like this. This flight was absolutely something.
Yeah. It was different from previous flights.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So first, I guess, question for the people then is, or about your testimony is, what was your first encounter with Christ? I know, like, my dad, he went to a concert. My mom, it was at her sister's birthday party. So what was your first encounter with Christ where, I guess just first encounter.
My very first encounter was when I was young.
Mm-hmm.
I was about 8 years old, but it was way more different than my recent encounter with Christ.
Okay.
Especially being at this age.
Yeah.
This was actually about last year in April, exactly, it was April 26th, that encounter, because it's an encounter not to forget.
Mm-hmm.
That was when I actually literally cried out to him.
Right, right.
And and so when I cried out to him, I felt this overwhelming peace.
Mm-hmm.
I still, like, again, I wasn't really familiar what that really was at that
Right,
time.
right.
I just knew it was something.
Yeah.
It gave me like calmness, and peace, and it brought me to realize, like, man, I was actually never alone.
Mm.
When I was out there in the streets, I was really never alone. Like, I always felt something. I just didn't know who.
Mm.
People, like, he would use people to come and pray for me, and to bring me peace, and to find God.
Right.
But there was this one time, I'll never forget it, where I actually, like, whoever you are, God, like, help me through this, help me get out of this.
Mm.
And boom, like, I just felt really peaceful, like, through it.
Mm.
And I was actually in my car, and I was parked. This place where we were sleeping, and I was sleeping in my car at the time.
Yeah, yeah.
But I happened to be alone this one time, and I just cried like a baby. Like, I was tired. I was exhausted.
Yeah.
I was so exhausted of that life, and I felt him like reaching out and like letting me know everything's be fine.
Mm.
And here I am.
And here you are. So was there ever a time um before now, like before, what would you say, August? April?
April.
April. Was there a time before April that you were serving God where you were in church? Or was it just this
Just
this recent time?
yes.
Okay.
Besides, like I said, when I was younger, about 8
Yeah.
years old, like, that time, I got to know a little bit about God, but not what I know now.
Mm.
And it's amazing, man.
So
And
then when you were younger, um, what was that like? What was that encounter? Like how did you first learn about Jesus? Was it through like an outreach? Was it through church? Was it through, somebody telling you about Jesus? Because obviously there was a seed that was planted, right, within your life for you to want to cry out to God, for you to reach that point of knowing I'm broken, but I know that there's someone or something that can change me. When was that seed planted?
very good question. That actually brought me back to where I was it was during my addiction, and I remember your dad was in Tucson at the time.
Mm.
I can't remember what age I was. I think I was actually like 20,
Okay.
and he was here, and he encouraged me to go.
Mm.
And I was like, okay, let's go. I was a little messed up,
Right, right.
but I know that because I remember during the service, I was I was trying to talk to God. Like,
Hmm.
I was in that state where things were happening in my life where I was like really separated from my son.
Yeah.
Um and like I was separating from life in general, like things were already happening, and then I felt like I wanted to cry so bad, and but it just lasted that day, because after that, when I got back after church, like,
Hmm.
I went back again.
Mm.
But at that moment, I did feel a peace where it
Mm.
made me actually cry.
Yeah. Yeah.
And after crying out to God, like, I was really like feeling that same peace
Mm.
that I was just talking about, and that just reminded me when you said that.
Hmm. So it's crazy because I know that like when my dad had first started going to the church, obviously he had like talked to you guys, he would talk to abuelo and abuela, but I lost my train of thought. Oh my goodness. What's crazy is that in that time there was no covering, right? Like no godly covering in your life. But was there ever like a desire when you were younger to go to church? in that age, I don't know how old you were. How old was Theo when you guys had got married?
Oh, how old were you back in '99?
I was
So how old are you now?
36. I was
Can
born
you
in
pull the mic
89.
closer to you?
Oh, 36. Oh, so you were 10 because we've been married for 26 years.
10 years
Oh
old.
dang!
Yeah, so you were 10 years old.
So then at that age, at 10 years old, did you ever go to the church?
Hmm.
Okay,
I used to go with your dad a lot. Actually, when I used to always hang out with your dad when I was little. Like,
really?
yeah, he would always take me to church with him.
Huh?
There's the seed.
Yeah.
The seed was planted right there.
So then, did you go to the children's church with like
No,
Tim and
I actually would
Kathy,
always
or
I would always go
in the main
in the main
service?
service.
Really
Yes,
interesting, huh?
very interesting actually.
So then, was it like what was that like being 10 years old, going to the church because your big brother or your older brother went to church?
That's amazing actually because I think that just shows how important it is around at that age.
Yeah.
Because even though we're being kids, we're still
Right.
kids. I believe now that we actually are receiving a
Oh
lot.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes.
It like it almost like not to get all scientific, but it like creates a different path in your brain when you are that young. It makes it easier to receive that stuff, and it like roots itself deeper into your memory.
Like way in there.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like for example, like me with Spanish. Like I don't speak it a lot, but from when I was younger, and abuelo and abuela would speak Spanish to me because they didn't really speak English.
Yeah.
I understand a lot more because even though I don't use it a lot, it's still in there in
Planted.
my mind. Yeah, planted somewhere, rooted in somewhere where it's like, oh, when somebody does speak Spanish to me, I can understand a little bit more than I can speak. So maybe it was the same where you were younger and that seed was planted and it may have taken root. Oh my goodness, it reminds me of the story of the parable of the sower, right?
Yeah.
Where he casts his the seed out into the field, and some of it lands in the rocks, some of it lands in the among the weeds, among good soil, and that just shows, right? Like if the seed that was planted in you, it may not have grown far, but then it got uprooted. But then there was another seed that was planted that fell in that good soil and took root. And now here you are. What,
Amen.
8 months later? 10 months?
Almost a year.
Almost a year.
Wait.
No, it is a
Of
year.
since I got saved.
Yeah.
It's gonna be. I think it's actually just been a year. I'm trying to figure out if it was October 6th or like October 10th
Mm.
that I actually.
Like dedicated yourself.
Yes.
Mm. Interesting.
But like you said, it's yes, that has a lot to do with it. Being able to not cry out to God during all these years, but
Hmm.
know who to cry out to in a time of
Right.
when I just had nothing else.
Hmm.
Sometimes it takes that.
Huh. So then my question is, I guess my next question would be, did you ever give your life to Christ or go to the altar when you were that age, when you were going to church with my dad?
That same service that I was just telling you about when I went with him, I did go to
Okay.
the altar.
Okay.
I did, and I gave my life to him. I gave my life to God that time, but again, like I was still really in the world
Hmm.
to where like it just I don't know how to explain that, but I did make an altar call, but right away went bad,
Hmm.
and it happens a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
Yeah. Yeah.
does. It's like I want to say sometimes I've now it all makes sense to me. All these years of why I went through the things I went through, why I
Hmm.
made the choices I made and why I'm still here right now. It's
Hmm.
like barely actually making sense to me
Right.
now. It's like, this is something that we go through to help others. You know what I mean? Like everybody goes through certain times. Some people make it, some people get delivered from all that at a really early or
Right.
not or later.
Yeah, yeah.
But it won't make sense to you until you fully actually surrender to God.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening with me. Like it's all really making sense to me.
Yeah. Okay. I know that we had you had given me a call a while back, and we had talked. I don't know, probably the longest that we've ever talked before, ever talked. Well, besides when you would cut my hair
Years ago.
years. But I remember when we were on the phone, I had mentioned it in one of the other episodes that you had mentioned God's restoration power, right? That no matter how far behind we are, God, when we fully dedicate ourselves and we fully say like, okay, God, my life is yours. Like just completely take my life, that he restores everything, right? That he restores from where you should be, and he speeds up the process of that restoration to where you had kind of mentioned right now that we go through those things for a reason, because it's not till later that you'll fully understand. And so sometimes it's going to take a long time, but once you come to that point where you fully understand, that's when God's going to restore everything. That's when everything comes back out, and he gives you he puts you where you should already have been. You may be a little bit behind because, you didn't start off younger, or like, for example, like me, if I had started off when I was in high school or even middle school, fully giving myself to God, how much further would I be in my life, right? Like, how much further in my walk with God would I be? I think I would be a whole lot further. I wish I was a whole lot further, but I have to take what I'm being given, and I have to keep wanting more.
We can ask ourselves that all the time. One thing I learned is you can try, you sit there, but you're not gonna figure out what God's really doing.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's what just amazes me, how God works. That's just what helps me realize how big God is.
Yeah.
It's like, man, you can never figure it out. You'll sit there and be like, why did I go through this? Why did I only time like the more that you surrender to God, the more that He reveals to you. That's how it's been happening lately. Like there was a point where I was like, how, why is this happening? Why did this happen? But now it's like I said, it's making sense to me.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Oh, now that explains it. But yes, God does, like, if the more you surrender to God, He redeems all that time. You know what I mean? Like He'll use it, He'll turn it around, and it does take a lot of surrender though.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of submission. You really gotta let go of yourself. You gotta let go of the things that you thought would fulfill you.
Yeah.
It's a painful process. It really is, and but God will work in you as long as you let Him.
Yeah.
He's big God, and He will.
The picture that comes to mind is the two gates, right? Or the two paths to the gates. There's the large gate that has a wide and easy path to go through. And then there's the small gate that's hard to find, with a very small and difficult path. And you have to choose which one you want to go down. So my question now is, when you were younger, like 10, right? And you were going to church with my dad, when do you think you crossed, or you came to that fork in the road where you had to choose? Am I going to take the wide path, or am I going to take the thin path, the hard path, the small path? When do you think that was, where you made that decision? And it may not have been right away, right? Because there's that song that says, it's a slow fade when black and white turns to gray. So it's not going to be that immediate change. Like me, it wasn't an immediate change to step away from God. It was a long, slow process of me walking away from church, stepping away from the things of God. And so for you, what do you think was that first one? Like me, it was compromise. I compromised my walk with God. I compromised with music, friends, what I was doing, my actions, my language, and I compromised. And I think that might be where everybody starts, right? Is compromise. You start to give in just a little bit to the world, and then everything starts to spiral or snowball, right? The snowball effect. What do you think was like that first or those first couple of moments that you can remember where it was like, this is when, I guess, the beginning of your testimony, right? Of you before you finally met God.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Mine was actually influence.
Mm.
Like, because I was really young still. I was actually in middle school at the time. You know, the influences, the people I was around, and the people who drew me to them.
Mhm.
Like, it was me, you know, in middle school, I'm this kid, like, I'm intimidated because I'm in sixth grade, you know what I mean? I'm like, man, what's going on? This is all, like, you know, I'm like, what is going on? And then people, hey, come chill with us.
Yeah.
That was it. I was like, boom.
Mm.
Separated
Hmm.
right there. I remember that too. The first time that actually happened, you know, they came up to me, hey, you're cool, man. What's up? Like, cool, thanks. And then I started just little by little,
Mm.
and that's when everything came: the partying,
Yeah.
the lying to our parents.
Right. Right.
Yeah, good night, mom. Good night, dad. Open the windows.
Yeah.
Go out
So.
there. You know, and yeah.
Mm. And then from there, I guess, what is the rest of your testimony, right? Like from there, where did you find yourself? If you're willing to share like that deep into it, where did you find yourself in the world before you finally came to God? Like what was the brokenness that you came to where it was like, I need you, God, right?
No,
Because
which
you
was
said
that
you
last time.
came down to your knees and you're crying out. What led up? What all led up to that moment where you finally said, because you said, right, where you had done it before, where you'd gone to the altar, you'd confessed, but then you went right back.
Right away.
So what was that like? What was that like? I guess what is that testimony of, this is where I was broken?
Took like 20 years. It was through middle school. You know, it started off smoking weed, partying, drinking,
Mm.
and I stayed. And what kept me was that I was able to like do sports and everything at the same time. So I started
Mm.
like getting myself to think that, oh, I'm good. I'm
Mhm.
good. I can handle anything.
Right, right.
And it started getting deeper, you know, different parties, different drugs,
Mm.
um, different lifestyle. I was getting it was becoming so normal
Yeah, yeah.
to a point where I started going to school like that. I started, you know, playing my sports like that. I started being around my family like that.
Mm.
And it got to a point where I started thinking like, oh, I'm good. I'm
Mhm.
good. I could try something even harder.
Right, right.
So
Mm.
it got really deep. So I
Yeah.
started, you know, the harder stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
I
Yeah.
say it? Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
All right. It went to you know, coke. It went to meth.
Mm.
And I was like, oh, this is nothing.
Right.
I could still do it.
Yeah.
And I went to heroin.
Mm.
And then fentanyl comes out.
Yeah, yeah.
And and time went by so quick. Like this
Yeah.
is another thing that's scary is like, you know, when you're like thinking it's all good and you're just getting so deep into these things like drugs and then the partying and you're still alive and you're like, oh, okay, I'm good. I'm you know, nothing's taking me down. You know, before you know it, like for me, for example, was 20 years later, I'm like, whoa, my
Mm.
kid is 15, 14 years old at the time
Yeah.
he turned 14.
Yeah, yeah.
My daughter, I have a daughter now. She's one. I'm like, what's going on with me?
Mm.
That's when I was like, you know what? Whoa, this is getting real.
Yeah.
20 years later.
Hmm. What's crazy is well, not crazy, but interesting is when you said you started off small and then you're like, I could do bigger. I could do harder stuff. Or I need something harder, right? I feel like a lot of sin starts off that way, right? You start off with like just a little bit, and then that starts not being enough for you to satisfy yourself. Was that how it was for you, where it was like you started off small and then it was like, you know what, this isn't enough to keep me going. It's not enough to keep me satisfied. I'm gonna keep going harder and harder. And then once you reach that harder, it's like, okay, give me more of that. That's not doing enough. Give me something more. And then give me more of that. It's not enough. Something harder.
It that actually, whoa, okay, and it branched out to a lot of other things like depression.
Mm.
Like, oh, I need more of this because I'm starting to feel like I don't feel like doing anything.
Okay.
Went to anxiety. Went to like I started making myself think that I was like going crazy. You know what I mean? Like
Mm.
I was like losing my mind. So I started going to people. I started using other things to try to like fix that.
Yeah, yeah.
But again, I'm forgetting one that can actually change it. But I'm
Yeah.
still trying to do everything on my own, like
Mm.
pushing people away. I guess that's where the enemy gets that good at doing this,
Yeah.
and like he would always use my family, or he would always find his way to come and like bring me lower and lower.
Mm.
Like even though my family would come to me, I love you, I love you, come on, I'll be like, no, no, I can do this, I got this, don't tell me what to do.
Right, right.
It was getting bad. It got bad. Like I
Yeah.
got to a point where I started losing my job, lost my kids,
Mm.
started losing my health little by little. Like I started just feeling like I don't want. I give up.
Mm.
I give up on life, but it still didn't get me to a point where I cried out to God.
Yeah.
And I was still, digging deep. I knew who to cry out to at the time, but it wasn't. There was just something. I was so blind.
Yeah.
And still looking around this world, trying to find something to satisfy me.
Mm.
I couldn't find it.
Yeah.
Couldn't find it till this one day. It actually did talk to your dad the day before that.
Really?
The day before I actually cried out to God, I had a talk with your dad, and he had told me, he's like, man, you just pray, bro. Just pray, surrender to God, let him work in you.
Hmm.
And yeah, right away, little by little, even like with my withdrawals,
Mm.
like this is another thing how good God is. Like even in those times where we think that there's no hope,
Mm-hmm.
because I felt hopeless. Like there's nothing. Like I always thought, like, nah, God can't do that for me. Why would He do that for me?
Mm.
Like how is He gonna do that for me? You know what I mean? And how am I just gonna one day be a drug addict all my life and then the next day not be?
Right.
How?
Right.
I don't
Right.
see I don't see that happening. Everything just seemed impossible. And it was that all it took was that though. I asked God, God just help me get out of this.
Yeah.
Help me. Like I was crying, God, come on, take me. I'm done. Now it makes sense,
Yeah.
because when I was withdrawing, like I still like when I was trying to quit on my own, like it wouldn't work. Like I was just going insane. Like I was like it was hurting,
Mm.
and like
Try to move your mic a little bit this way, and then up a little bit. Yeah. Perfect.
and but no, not this last time since I actually wanted God to work in my life with that.
Yeah.
He gave me peace through it.
Mm.
Like, I wasn't hurting that bad. It was a painful process. Again,
Right.
it was, but no, he was there with me.
Something interesting that you said. Well, all of that was interesting, but that really caught was you said you knew who to call to, but that you're just so blinded that you didn't want to. And it's crazy, like how similar a lot of people are in that, right? Like church kids, they know who to call to. They'll always tell you like, oh, yeah, man, I just feel broken. I'm depressed. It's like you know who to call to. Myself, for example, I'm gonna keep using myself for an example because it's just our testimonies are similar in the way of that how we felt, right? Like obviously it not everything's the same, but in the way that I felt, I knew who to call to in my depression. I knew who to call to in my anxiety when I was searching for love, when I was searching for belonging. But like you said, we're just so blinded by our sin, we're blinded by the love for our sin, I guess you would say, right? Because that was the thing with me, is I was in love with my sin so much I didn't want to surrender. And I would, go to the altar, God, I'm done. But I was so in love with what I was in that I didn't want to give it up, that I didn't want to let go, and I didn't want to restart, because I knew that that meant I'd have to stop satisfying my flesh, and I don't want to stop, right? So it's just crazy that you said that our mind was like the same, right? Where it's like, wow, like that's crazy.
That brought me to a lot of things. Like, it's like, okay, so we could say that's how good the enemy is.
Yeah.
The devil will make it look so good for you that
Mhm.
you start missing these things right away. Like, my pastor at Third Service,
Yeah.
he would always tell us, like, he'll make it. He's as soon as you get out of church, he's out there waiting.
Oh, yeah,
because he
yeah.
knows your weakness.
Yeah.
Like, so he's out there waiting for you, and he'll paint this, this your sin, like, in a way where you'll miss it. He'll make it look so good. And
Yeah.
you're like, oh man, I can't. All right, I'll go back. I'll be back this way again, but I'll go back.
Yeah.
And that's what he does. But again, for God, bro,
Yeah.
God just turns that around,
Yep.
so you can, use that, like, wow. But I hear you, bro. Like, it is hard to let go of the sin, but when you do,
Mhm.
you find someone better when you
Yeah.
lead to God.
Yeah.
And it's just that's the hard part, is to let go of these things of the world that you think satisfies you. That's definitely hard.
Yep.
It's the hardest thing that anybody can do. Whatever tribulation, whatever they go through in their lives, whatever test that are they're going through. Once we just leave it to God and let God guide you, and just really, like, let go. You don't want to look back to it no more. You turn away from that. God is he's a promise keeper.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, I lost my train of thought again. You had said something that reminded me of our conversation. Oh, when you said the devil was outside waiting, right? Right outside of church, and you had mentioned that when you finally surrendered, right? You finally gave your life to Christ. That you felt like you walked outside and God's standing right there, just with His arms crossed, like, "So you ready?"
Yeah, with the shades on.
Yeah, with the sunshades on, hop in. We're going. Um, you had kind of answered this question earlier, but was there ever a moment while you were in the world, while you were broken, where you still felt God's hand over your life, where you still felt like He was protecting you, right? Like, for me, it was, I used to just love going on drives, right? I was acting a fool in my car, but I always felt God's protection over me when I was out doing my own thing, outside of the house, outside of school. I still felt God's hand keeping me from worse, but also keeping, I guess, my family from worse, right? From that heartache, from that heartbreak of somebody else having to tell them, you know, we found your son, or we found, this or that. Was there ever that time where you felt like God was still had His hand over your life and was still keeping you and protecting you?
Yes. So a couple times, but one time when I was like, whoa, because of the fact that I knew God at the time. I knew who God was, who God is. And so there was this time I was in my car, and this was about a week, no, a month before I surrendered to God. A month before that, it was I was I was nodded out in my car. I was like out cold, and I was actually on the passenger seat, and something happened outside of where I was staying at, and there was this gunshot. It woke me up. No, I heard it, but I didn't wake up yet. What woke me up was like gunpowder smell, like something which just woke me up coughing. I was like coughing,
Huh.
and I was like looking at it, what was that? And I put it together because I heard like a gunshot,
Yeah,
but it
yeah.
didn't wake me up, but I heard like really far. And I got out. I was trying to see what happened, and I went inside and I was like, "What happened?" And he's like, "I had to shoot at somebody or whatever." And then I came out and I noticed there was a bullet hole in my door, like on the driver door. And I was like, "What?" And then I went in there and I started like looking around in there, and there was a bullet hole because I was on the passenger seat,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like the driver's seat was like right here, like lean forward,
Uh-huh.
and so like my face like right where the seat is at,
Yeah.
and that's how I was sleeping. I was like that, and the driver's seat was right here. And I noticed that on the other side, when I opened the door, there was like a bullet hole in the seat. And and the bullet was actually literally, when I opened the back panel of the seat,
Yeah.
the bullet was like stuck on this little wire that's inside the seat.
That's crazy. What
Bro,
the heck?
yeah, bro, it was like 4 inches away from my face.
Wow.
I was like, I knew it right away. I was like, that was God.
Yeah. Yeah.
God. And then it happened again, bro. Like a week after that, at the apartment we were staying at. It was
Mhm.
me, where my parents lived, and my brother. And I used to always be in the little in the storage room, because we're
Mhm.
on the bottom, the very bottom where the patio's at. That little door that you can open, there's like a room.
Yeah, yeah.
Always was there, bro. Just getting high and everything, and day and night, morning, day and night, every
Mhm.
day, just there. And then I'll go to work, come back, day and night again, just there, like
Mm.
And one time I actually got up and like took off. I took off, and then like my mom was telling me, like, right when I left, um, no, when I come back, she was like, "Oh, I saw a bunch of cops out there. There was tape, there's yellow tape everywhere." I was like,
Mm.
"What happened?" And I won't forget that day. It was the day that it snowed, because it actually snowed. That was the first time it snowed in a long time.
Mm.
There's just cops everywhere. I go inside the apartment, and my brother's like, "Wow, I'm so glad you're okay, bro. I'm so
Yeah.
glad." I was like, "Wow, what happened?" He's like, "Bro, go look in the room, and where I'm always at."
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I used to sit on this bucket, and I look in there, and there's like a bullet hole right there, and like right lined up to where I would sit. Like if I was sitting there, my brother told me, "Bro, that bullet would hit you in the neck, bro."
What?
He's like, "You had left, and like within the minute that you left, that gunshot came, boom." And
That
like
is
I was like,
crazy.
that was God like telling
Yeah.
me to leave,
Yeah.
go, get out of there. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
But that still didn't wake me up.
Mm.
Like that's how in love I was with sin. Like you
Yeah.
said, like I was too in love, bro. Like I was so blind.
Mhm.
So it just, that didn't move. Like that didn't do anything. But now I'm actually, like I said, it's making sense to me now. Like,
Yeah.
and all it takes for us to
Mhm.
surrender to God,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
he knows why we're here, and giving us by his grace and his mercy. He knows why.
Yeah.
That all it takes. He just wants us to surrender to him, and he
Mhm.
wants to use us. And
Yeah.
I'm learning that. I'm realizing that, like, man, God is good, bro.
Yeah. You're awfully quiet over there.
Yeah, I was gonna ask a question to Daniel. Okay,
Bring the
so
mic. You can
bring
bring
it
the mic
lower.
down. Yeah.
Okay,
So that's
so
more comfortable.
question, because like when my kids left the things of God, I prayed differently for people. So I remember a time. I remember that time that your mom had told us that there was like like a shooting right there by the house, and you would have been in that little room. And I remember your mom saying like that you were out in the street like doing drugs. And oh my gosh, I don't want to get emotional, but I remember telling your brother like it's like whenever we see someone in the street with drugs or they're lost, like I would always tell your brother like that's someone's daughter, that's someone's son,
Mm.
that could be your brother. And so us praying for you and your mom and your dad and your sister and Chilo, just praying for everybody, right? For salvation. But not only that, but like how good God is covering your son. Like I
Mm.
remember when he came the year that Manny graduated
Mm.
and he was like, I'm an atheist. And that same year, that same week,
Mhm.
he got saved, gave his life to Jesus, and got baptized. Like
Mhm.
how good God is, no matter where we are in our lives. So my question was, has it given you a different sense of prayer for others? Like, I pray for our prodigal sons and daughters. Like, we have people in our church that their sons or their daughters have backslidden, known the things of God, and have left Jesus. Like you, your brother, your sister, your mom, your dad. So, like, praying for you guys has been very different for me. Like, even for my dad and my brother and one of my sisters that wasn't serving God. So for you, you knowing what it is to be young, serve Jesus, leave the things of God, and just do things you never thought you were going to do, or even finding yourself where you're at, where you were. Do you pray differently for people? Like, when you see or know of someone, like my son is out there on the street, or my daughter's out there on the street. Do you tell them, like, helping them, like, and this is what you should pray for? Do you see what I
Absolutely.
mean?
Yeah, because I seen with my own eyes what God can do. Even through my own
Mm-hmm.
life, I seen it a lot in other people's lives. I take all that. That's what having faith in God does. When you pray to God and you ask Him to intercede in somebody's life, like you know how powerful He is. So that I absolutely it helped me have faith in God to pray for people and believing in God that He's gonna have a way and helping. That's why I came to a point where I realized, wow, Mom, thank you for praying for me. Thank you, bro. Frank, I always tell him, like, pray for me. He's like, I do. And last time I talked to him, I was like, bro, who knew me and you would be having this conversation, talking about God? And he's like, I knew. Like, I knew we would have this conversation. And but yeah, it does help. When you see what God does in other people's lives, in your own lives, like, it actually helps you when you pray for somebody to pray for that specific need that they're going through.
Mm.
Whether it's healing, whether it's deliverance, whether it's anything. That's what's amazing. That's what makes God God, is you're able to pray and ask Him to intercede for somebody, and
Yeah.
He will. He wants you to ask Him. He's,
Yeah.
like you said,
Yeah.
He's waiting right there.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
He's waiting, and He just wants us to ask Him. He wants us to depend on Him. Out of all things that I learned, like, He wants us to depend on God.
Yeah.
God wants us to depend on Him, and
There's a book that we're reading in the men's Bible study, and it talks about prayer. And one of the points that it makes is inspirited prayer, right? Praying in the spirit, where you just come before God and you're not really with anything planned to pray for, but you're just sitting there waiting for God to give you something to pray for. Because when you come to God in the spirit for something to pray for, it's, for this person. Okay, God, I pray for this person, for this, for this, for this. And then He gives you somebody else to pray for. And you're like, oh, okay, pray for this, for this. But also, like, one of the pastors, I always forget his name. He had done a revival at one of the churches here in Federal Way. And he was talking about praying in tongues. How when we're praying, yes, we're praying for specific needs, but there's some things that we don't know about that God wants us to pray for, where when we speak in tongues while we're praying, because we're speaking in tongues, we're praying for a different type of need that we don't know about, but that God knows, and He's moving through the Spirit through tongues for you to be able to pray that need. I don't know if that makes sense.
it makes a lot of sense. It does. Praying in the Spirit is another
Yeah,
is
yeah,
a powerful way to pray.
yeah.
Like, you don't even know what you're praying about, but God knows.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So I have a question. So is there something that you would recommend for a family member, a maybe someone's son or daughter, cousin, brother, someone that they know or love, that you could say, pray for this because that's what I needed? So my example is, I remember when the kids had backslid and they had left Jesus. And I remember calling my spiritual mom, Kathy Martin. And I remember just vomiting all over her and just really just venting how I was feeling. And there was something she said, and I thank God for her wisdom. So she said, Erica, I pray for my kids like this. And I prayed like this for Manny and Natanya. So she said, pray that God uses their friends to convict them. And that not allow the enemy, because we've already influenced their friends, right? We've already done the influencing and they've influenced their friends, but don't allow those influences to penetrate in their lives. And so I did. I started praying for that. And no joke,
Powerful.
both of my
Yes.
kids have said, Manny has said this about his friends,
Mm-hmm.
and Natania, both of them, when they were not serving God,
Yeah.
they said something in the lines of, we shouldn't be doing this because of your mom and dad, or because of Jesus, or because you don't belong here, or I
Mm-hmm.
can't be doing this because I can't even see your mom and dad ever seeing you doing these sinful things. So I'm saying that to say, how can you encourage someone else that may be going, their loved one may be going through something that you went through, like out on the streets doing drugs? You know what I mean? Even though you had a good home, you know what I mean? Parents that loved you, maybe they weren't serving God, but they loved you. Is there something that you can say, pray for this specifically? Can you think of something that may help someone to say, hey, I need to pray like this for my son or my daughter that are out on the street?
That's powerful.
Mm-hmm.
I like we were talking about to the root of everything. Like
Mm-hmm.
we want to pray for, like, you got to really pray to God first to give you, you know, some revelation of what this person is going through. And a lot of that does take, you know, even whether you got to, you know, fast or whatever, you really got to like really focus on that need to that specific person, and God will give you that revelation, and he would show you, you know, hey, this person is going through this. Like, you really got to get to the root. Like, God, have your way, you know, have your way. Sometimes it even takes for you to ask. Like, it's a to me, it's a painful one, because sometimes you got to really ask God to, God, whatever it is you got to do, whatever it is you got to do with this person to bring them to you. Have your way with this person, whether it's separate him from his friends, that whether it is take this away, whatever it is. God, have your way with this person. Do whatever it is you gotta do. I leave them on your hands. God, just move in this person's life. That's actually and then it comes with conviction. You know, bring conviction. It comes with, it's, you know, sometimes you gotta ask for things like that. You know, it's gonna hurt you, but it's not, again, it's not about you. You know, it's about that person, and it's about what God can do with that person. And sometimes we really gotta hit that point where it's gonna
Yeah.
hurt everybody,
Yeah.
but God will have His way through it.
Yeah.
If
That's
that makes
interesting.
sense.
Yeah. It was interesting that you said do whatever it takes to bring them to you. It reminds me of the story of Nestor, that
Oh,
one of the
no.
guys from California, he married one of my mom's friends, and her friend was coming to church. She had grown up Catholic, but they worked together, and you know, through my mom's testimony, she came to church and she got saved, but her husband wouldn't go to church, and he loved to play soccer. He was always played soccer on Sundays, on Wednesdays. Sometimes he would purposely go to a game to play so that he didn't have to go to church. So we had gone to a couple of his games, and they would always have us over to their house to eat and fellowship and just hang out. But I remember one time my mom told him, she said, Nestor, I'm praying that you. Oh, what would
That
you
God
say?
breaks your legs so you can play soccer. I don't recommend that. Don't pray for that. Like, that was not wise. But I mean, he still came to church, and it wasn't until years later
Yeah.
that now they're serving God in the church in Modesto. But
Yeah.
that's not what I recommend. Don't
But
recommend hurt.
Did he
He did. He did.
Yes,
it
he
was.
did.
It was
Did his
like a
leg get
couple.
broken?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying.
But
Don't
that
pray
just
for
shows how
that.
powerful prayer is, right?
Yeah.
Yes, but don't pray
yeah.
for that. Don't pray harm. But I agree with you, because I feel like with Natania and Manny, like I had to pray, God, show me how to love them. And that's hard. It's hard to love someone when you know they're in their sin, and we don't know how to. Like, I don't want to bash them over their heads, like, you're gonna die in your sin, you're gonna die in your sin. And that's not love. Like, us bashing someone, that's not love. It's just us being patient. And one of the things that both Manny and Natania have said, mom and dad, when we stepped away from the things of God, just us seeing you, we were already convicted. So it doesn't mean that I have to say anything to them, but that I love you and I'm praying for you. And just seeing them to me was like just peace. Like, you know what I mean? When they both stepped away from the things of God, and just seeing them every day, I was like, God, thank you. Like, they're home. Like I get
I
to see
understand.
them. Like, you know what I mean? Like they haven't stepped into eternity just yet. You
Mhm.
know, but that's where God is so faithful that no matter where we are, the word of God says we can make our bed in hell and he's there. God is so good. And we don't understand that until we're actually experiencing that.
There you
Like, you know what I mean? Like when I actually had to pray for that for my kids, then I understood God's love. Because before, somebody who sinned, like, whatever, you're going to hell, you're dumb. But then now, like seeing my kids, I'm like, okay, Jesus, like you love them so much that they can make their bed in hell and you will still forgive them. Like you are there. God is so good
Mhm.
that we could be at our lowest. Like we're never too far gone until we stepped into eternity.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? But we're never too far gone. And that's God's goodness.
Mhm.
go.
Yeah.
Yep. Amen.
With that, I wanted to before we go too long, but I want to ask you, what was that path to God like? Right? You talked a little bit about it. You touched a little on it. You touched a little bit on where you were before, but when what led up to that moment, right? Like what led up, well, you had, like I said, you kind of already touched on it, but what act oh my goodness, I can't speak. Oh my gosh.
I know, right?
I don't know why. Um you,
What
you understand what I'm
what led
asking?
to where I'm at now?
Yes, yes, yes.
Like my hunger for God.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
like oh man, it's all it took was for me to just open my heart to Him.
Mhm.
So I went to church right here, and I mean over there in Cerro Vista. Sorry, at that other Cerro Vista.
Years down
See
here
how that
back
works?
home.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I was the first time I went to church there.
Hold on. I just want to ask what made you go to church? What led you to say, obviously you're in your car, right? And you said, God, here I am, but something changed from your previous God, here I am, right? Because you didn't go back to your life, your old life. What was it that changed in that God, here I am in your car that led you to actually want to go to church and make those next steps?
A lot of things. Okay, so I was like I was in jail.
Mm,
That's where I actually, started praying more
mm,
and just talking. I didn't know how to pray.
right, right.
That's another thing that, that's another thing that just shows that all God wants you to do is talk to Him and ask Him.
Yeah, yeah.
Wholeheartedly though.
Right,
A
right.
lot of times we just we get to a point where we're just asking Him, demanding things from Him. But
Mm-hmm.
no, but like when you really with your whole heart ask Him, like again, you don't have to use special words or like these,
Right.
you don't gotta be all intelligent. All it took, I didn't know, you know what I mean? I was like, God, just, I'm grateful. This is
Mm-hmm.
how I remember the first time I actually prayed to Him. When I prayed to God, I was actually like, God, I'm grateful. Thank you. It's really simple.
Mm-hmm.
Like God, keep giving me peace.
Mm-hmm.
I want more of you.
Mm.
It's just really simple, but with my whole heart again,
Yeah,
because I really, really was like, I just wanted to be good. Like
yeah.
I just
And
wanted
this
to
was
be,
after the car?
yeah.
Okay,
After I
okay,
cried out to God, like
okay.
this time, like I was actually on my like my seventh day,
Mm.
no 20th day. Sorry about that because it was just like 20 days of withdrawals. Like
Mm.
I
Okay.
was like, but once my mind started coming back, it got to a point where I was like, okay, God, like my mind's clear. Like I
Mm.
really mean this. Like I really want you to work in my life the way,
Mm.
the way that you want me to be.
Yeah.
And little by little, people would come to me, random people. And now it makes sense to me. Now I know that was all God using, people, even people. Like it's amazing how God does that.
Yeah.
But random people that I don't know, just come up to me and have a conversation with me, like, hey man, like how you doing? I'm good. Hey, God loves you. God loves you. God wants to use you. God wants to do things with you.
Mm.
Like, oh, that was random. At the time I was like, okay,
Okay,
but
bro, whatever.
yeah, because again, I still didn't have that knowledge where
Right.
God can use people. I still
Yeah.
wasn't that. aware of how God works. But I just knew God was God.
Mm-hmm.
And then turns out that same person ends up moving next to me.
Mm.
And he's like, "Hey, what's up?"
Yeah,
And
yeah.
he's like, "Hey, I got something for you." And he gave me a Bible. He's like, "Just read this, bro." It wasn't like a Bible, but it was actually a book. I'm sure everybody's familiar with that book.
Yeah, yeah.
What is it? Rescued, not arrested, or
Oh
something like
no, I
that.
never heard of that.
Mm-mm.
No,
Mm-mm.
Is it
No.
rescued, arrested? Oh, I forgot what it's called. I'm sure everybody knows what I'm talking about.
Okay, okay.
The people in it. That book is really popular in jails, and I read it, and that's actually like my first book I've ever read in my life.
Yeah, yeah.
It talks about somebody's testimony, sharing his testimony, everything he went through in life, what God did for him, where he's at now.
Mm.
I'm like, whoa, like, well, if God can do that in his life, I want to see what he can do in my life.
Yeah.
So every day there was always an encounter, like
Mm.
where somebody random would come up to me and we'll have a conversation about God. Like not even
Yeah.
about. It used to be about, what are you gonna do when you get out? Are
Mm.
you gonna go get high? Like, hey, bro, I got this person. Like, nah. Every time I was this time in jail, cause I've been in and out. Like, man, I wasn't getting it.
Yeah, yeah.
But this time around, like God was telling me, that's enough, son. You don't gotta live like that.
Mm.
And I could tell like how much God really loves me, because he kept people randomly would just come to me and talk to me, and we'll have a conversation about God.
Hmm.
Even friends that I knew from way back, like
Yeah, yeah.
and this one of my friends was telling me like, hey bro, I want to be a pastor. He was telling me, I'm like, wow,
Really?
there's a God talk. Like, we're talking about God everywhere.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, nice. So it started kind of like wanting me to find out more about God. Like
Mm.
it gave me this curiosity. God, I want to know you more. And throughout the whole month in jail, because I was in there for 30 days, and after that, I went to a rehab. And then the whole month in jail, like I still wanted more. Like I wanted to stay clean, so and it wasn't me that set up the rehab either. Somebody came, my PO came, or somebody. I think it was my PO. She's like, hey, I'm gonna get you out of here. Let's take you to rehab. I was like, okay, cool. Let's go. And then when I go there, and usually I guess it's like you can't have religious beliefs there.
Really?
You can't, yeah, like you'll get kicked out of there or something. Like they can't you can't be spiritual. You can't have religion in there.
Hmm.
That's
Interesting.
But what's more interesting is that this time they're like, hey, this is actually like one of the first times that they actually allowed it. Like they allowed us to get together in somebody's room, and they
Okay.
don't even allow that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We'll get kicked out for that. But
Huh.
like the staff there were cool with it. They're like, somebody there was leading like a Bible study, and he was like, would pray a lot. We'll pray for people, or they would, because I was
Yeah.
still was. So I'm like, God is like following me. God is really
Mhm.
following me right now. And he's like, everybody was like, yeah, this is the first time ever. Nobody, we can't allow this stuff here. We get kicked out. And so I started getting into the Bible studies. I started letting this man pray for me all the time. He would always pray over me. I'll pray too. And so then I get out of there, and I'm in Tucson, and like and I'm in Tucson, and then like somehow um my parents are like, we're moving back to Cerro Vista, because they were in Mexico. We're moving back in Cerro Vista. And I was like, all right, get me out of here. I don't want to be here in Tucson. I don't want, I want to get out of here.
Yeah.
And they have my daughter. So I go to Cerro Vista, and the same church that's in the same fellowship, as your guys' church here.
Yeah, yeah.
We're in the same fellowship. It's like down the street.
Okay.
So it's like, mm, you know, I go check it out. And same part of the same fellowship. So I'm like, I had accountability there. People would reach out to me.
Yeah.
They reach out, call me. Hey, you want to go to church today? I'll be like, okay, yeah. You want to come to prayer? Yeah, okay. And then little by little, I'm just like, I'm loving it.
Mm.
And
Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
Oh man. Did you? What made you want to go to the church?
that it was actually a good idea for me to go. Like I was just like, here it is. Like it was to a point where I was, I was already being aware of God, like reaching out to me. Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so I'm like, okay, now the church is down the street. and it's part of the same fellowship.
Yeah.
Okay, I know this is you, God. I'm gonna
Yeah.
obey you. Like I'm gonna, cause your dad would always talk to me about being obedient.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, I
So
was
nobody had sorry,
no,
nobody had like invited you guys. You guys didn't get like flyer, or it was just you guys were passing through town and saw it.
your dad.
Oh,
Your dad actually told my parents.
it's always him.
But hey, God uses your dad a lot,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, my your dad told my parents about that church, and they went, and then they told me about it, and they said, "Come over here to service. There's a church down the street," but I didn't know it was part of the same fellowship yet.
Okay. Okay.
But just all that, and already,
Yeah.
I was already loving it the first couple of days, you know, and I was already falling in love with God, bro, right away.
Yeah.
Because He's working in my life so fast.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's because I was actually wholeheartedly wanting Him to.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't
Yeah.
just like it's not like I cry, I need you. But then in the other half of my heart, it's like, just get me out of this, and like still tugging, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Still,
Yeah.
no, it was wholeheartedly surrender. Like, I knew I needed
That's
God.
it. Yeah.
I knew I needed God after everything. Like, how can I not know God actually got me out of that? You know? It takes a whole heart for Him to be able to work in your life. And that's what it was, bro. For me to just fully surrender to God.
Yeah.
And you know, believe what He can do and what He did for us.
So then I want you to tell everybody, you know, what's been happening in the last year, just in your life, that God's changed and how He's moving. I mean, what you're doing in church, what you're doing outside of church, you know, how He's moving in church and how He's moving outside of church. Because when my dad told me like the things that were happening, like I said, it makes me like so happy. Like it makes me excited to hear the things that He's been changing and the things that He's been doing and how fast it's been happening. So I just
Can you give
want
me an example? Because out of all things, because I could say, we'll go past time, bro. Like
Yeah.
I have so much to tell you, but
Yeah.
let's go on something that you have a question about.
All right. Tell them about your job.
My job.
Yes.
Okay.
How God's been moving in your job.
Okay, that's good. Okay, so I'm over here again. I'm trying to do things on my own, right? When I'm like, nah, I don't want that kind of job. I don't want this kind of job. I'm being like still, you know, like what I want.
Yeah.
I'm not even like, I'm still learning, you know what I mean, at that
Yeah.
time. And then finally I was like, it's not working for me. It's like, okay, God, where do you want me to work at? And then my PO sends me an application. He's like, I'm looking at it, I'm like, to Little Caesars? You want me to work at Little Caesars? Like, please no.
I love Little Caesars.
No, you don't. Trust me. It's like, no, but I filled out the application, bro.
Yeah.
And I was like, why Little Caesars, you know? But I filled it out. Next day I get a call. You want to work? I was like, yeah, right away.
Yeah.
And then they're like, okay, what do you want your schedule to be like? I'm like, okay. So I didn't have to bring it up to them first. They actually came. I was like, cool. So I told them, you know, I want these days off, this time I need this shift. And then again, okay, cool. But all the other jobs that I was like interviewing and everything, they wouldn't. They were not flexible with what I needed, my schedule. Yes. But Little Caesars was. But this is beautiful, right? This is beautiful because, you know, it's I call it divine favor, bro.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know. I'm starting to be aware now. But so I get my schedule. And you know, I'm able to stay involved with the church and what God wants to do in my life. And then, you know, I'm able to do everything, you know, be there for my kids.
Yeah.
You know, I got my kids back, you know, God gave me back my children. And oh man, that's beautiful because
Yeah.
I never imagined that happening.
Right.
And so I'm working here, and then, you know, the more I'm staying on track. Like, and a month later, you know, I get offered a position to be a manager. I'm like, cool. You know, a manager at Little Caesars. Like, I thought I was gonna be like a barber or you know, I actually was getting like peer support certified and trying to get all these big jobs.
Yeah.
But I'm like, here at Little Caesars, I'm like, I'll be a manager, okay. And like 3 months later, I'm still there,
Yeah.
and now I'm getting offered a co-general manager. Um, you know, and it's like, why, like 3 months, and everybody was mad. Of course, you're gonna have the opposite side. You're gonna have, the opposing side. Like, he's only been here 3 months. It's not
Yeah.
fair, but
Oh, okay. So in 3 months, you had already become manager,
yeah.
and then now you're being
No,
offered.
in 1 month.
In 1 month, you
Yes.
became manager, and then by the third month, you're being offered
Co-general manager.
co-general manager.
And the general manager is like the one that runs the whole store.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That is awesome.
I know, right? Like it's like I can't explain it.
Yeah.
But yes, it a lot of people are really upset right now. It's really a battle going on in there.
Right, right.
It's a lot of like the enemy tries to hit me with discouragement. Like
Right.
it's a lot of discouragement there, but it's not about me.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I learned is that it's not about us.
Yeah.
It's never been. It's about God.
Mhm.
God is. You gotta let Him allow
Right.
to do things.
And so you've only been in that job for the past 3 months.
For now.
4 now. Wow. That is awesome.
So I'm able to like work, take care of my kids.
Yeah.
And
And you're still able to be involved in
yes.
church. So then my next question is, what have you been doing in the church? Like, you started going, and how long did it take until you said, I want to be involved?
Right away, bro. Right away, because just the fact that just knowing what God had delivered me from already,
Yeah.
like I just wanted more of Him right away.
Yeah.
And it took me, it was within the month where I got baptized.
Yeah.
I got baptized by the Holy Spirit, and I started getting involved with outreaching,
Mm.
and it got to a point where I just really, like, wherever I was at, my son likes to call it, this is your battleground, like, because every time we go to Walmart and my son's there,
Yeah.
I'll pull over somewhere and just see somebody, and I'll just go and witness to them.
Yeah.
It's like, it's spreading the love of God, bro. And I've been like really just loving that, because if like, again, what God did for me, he can do it for anybody He wants
Right,
to.
right.
And that's why we're here. One thing I learned is that, like, that's why we're here today, so we can be able to share that,
Yeah.
share that peace that God gives us, that love,
Yeah.
and let people know that there's hope. Like, come on.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been really just really working. Serving God is actually the main thing that's really helping me,
Yeah.
helping my family, helping my children. Like, I want to be a good example for my children, good
Yeah, yeah.
influence. Comes with a lot.
Yeah. Um, there was one more thing I was gonna ask. Oh, now that you're, in love with God, and all these different things are happening, and your life's being escalated, right? Like, everything's happening so fast. What is it that you're wanting to see God do just in the next year, right? I mean, like, you can't put a timeline on God's plans. So I guess what are you wanting to do for God then? What's next that you're like, this is what God's put in my heart. This is a desire that I have, and I want to do this.
Ooh, that's a really good question. But if I answer that right, like the way I would say that, that's the beauty of this. That's
Yeah.
like that. This is why how it's amazing walking with God is that you don't know what He's gonna do in your
Right,
life.
right.
But what I know that He's gonna move as long as I continue to obey Him, as long as I
Yeah.
continue to stay surrendered to Him, as I continue to serve Him, as I continue to love Him.
Yeah.
Like, He's already doing amazing things
Right.
in my life, and
Yeah,
I
yeah,
see
yeah.
Him doing amazing things in your life, everybody's life, bro.
Yeah.
And that's because we're willing, like, to let Him.
Yeah.
We're wanting Him to, and it's like, bro, I just know He's gonna move.
Yeah.
I have ideas of what I would want Him to use me for.
Right, right.
And I can go as far as, like, saying I want to get a barbershop, for His glory.
Right, right,
I
right.
want to cut hair for His glory,
Mm-hmm.
or I want to, witness to
Mhm.
people for His glory. Like, I want to do things for him.
Mm-hmm.
But this is what blows my mind is that I still don't have an idea what he's gonna do with me.
Yeah, yeah,
But that's okay because that's what I want.
yeah.
You know,
You just want it to happen.
I just want it to happen. Like I want because he died for us, bro. Like Jesus died for us on the cross to set us free.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He gave us authority. He gave us, the strength. He gave us his spirit. You know what I mean? He did that for us so we can serve him, so we can be
Yeah.
set free. You know what I mean? So we can have a choice. Like he's not forcing us to do anything.
Right, right.
But again, when you allow him to, bro, to
Mhm.
work in your life,
And you have that desire to let him.
yes, bro. And I have really no like, God, let me do this, let me do that. I mainly say like, God, I just desire what you desire of me.
Okay.
It got to a point, bro, because just knowing everything he did for me, why not live for him?
Yeah. Okay. So it's not like this one thing, but it's just you're preparing yourself right now for whatever it is that he wants to do in your life.
Yes, and I want to encourage people too. Like that's another
Yeah.
thing is I do want him to use me in a way where I get to encourage people how powerful it is when you submit to him. Like he's real.
Mm-hmm.
God is real. Jesus died on the cross. That's real. Like that, Jesus died and resurrected on the third day for us to have life.
Yeah.
Imagine if he didn't. Like,
where would we be if he didn't? If he ended up calling down the angels to rescue him, right? Like, where would we be if that happened and he didn't take his place and he fell into the temptation from the devil of saying, I can take this or I can do this for you. And instead of him saying, not my will, but your will be done, but instead him saying, let my will be done because I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
Like, where would we be? Where would I be? Where would you be? Where would you be, right?
Yeah. And it does take a lot of like open-mindedness. You really got to open up your mind to really receive that. To see. That's why you got to get to know God. Like, he wants to know every single one of us.
Right, right.
And I really want to encourage people to really just let him work in your life. Let him work in your heart. Ask him to come into your heart. Ask him, God, come into my heart. I make room for you. I make room for you in my heart, and have your way in my heart. Like, do what you want to do with me.
But really mean it.
Really mean it, because again, you can't just one half saying yes because you're in desperate need, like you're like desperate needing something, but with the other half still knowing in your mind that you're gonna go back.
Yeah.
You can't do that. You really just gotta open up your heart, put yourself down, and just come broken to God. And that little bit of faith can get God to move in your life.
Yeah.
And I really encourage that for everybody. It's beautiful, and you'll never understand at that moment. But if you're patient and you allow God to work in your life more and more, there's gonna be a time where we realize what your whole life was about to begin with. Like, oh, why that happened. Oh, okay, that's why I'm here today. That's why we're having this conversation. Like, you started just man.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's awesome. I mean, it's awesome seeing you, coming from where you were to where you are now. I mean, this just goes to show, right? Like, it doesn't matter where you are in life. I mean, just the different people we've had on this show or on this podcast just shows, like, we've come from different walks. We've all come from different parts of life. But no matter where you are, God wants to meet you right where you are, broken, desperate. You don't have to be perfect. It's just right where you are, right in your car, right in your car, meet you. Different people have come on here and said they were in different places when they finally cried out to God. Yeah. Me, I was in the middle of the woods in my car, middle of the night, just, God, wow. I need you.
Never told me that one.
Nah, I was broken, but I was like, you know what? I can't find this anywhere else. So why not?
We can relate.
Yeah.
Everybody can relate. There's
Yep.
always a point where and God moves in
Yeah.
every single one of them.
Yep.
That just shows.
Yeah.
Like that just really shows you like
Yep.
how God's grace works. You
Mhm.
know? He's kicking back, waiting for you to cry
Yeah,
out
he's
to
just
him.
come on. I'm waiting.
I'm right here.
I'm waiting.
That's beautiful, bro.
Yeah.
He is always there. Like you were saying, Erica, how you know you can make your bed in hell and he's right there waiting for you.
Yep.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Praise God.
Yes. Well, with that, cue the music.
Cue the music. Okay, hold
Cue
on.
the music.
Oh yeah, sorry, no, the wrong music. Hold on.
It's good music though.
Good thing we don't play. Good thing we don't pay her.
I know. I'm sorry. We miss Cody.
Yeah.
Cody needs to come back.
We miss our people.
I'm the girl version of Cody.
I need to meet him. I still need to meet him.
You haven't met Cody?
I haven't met him.
What? Yeah, you'll meet him Wednesday, hopefully.
Well, I'm here for a week.
Yeah. Yep. Well, with that, thank you everybody for watching the podcast, watching the episode. Remember, hit like, subscribe, share with your family, share with your grandparents. They love us even more. You'll find your Jolly Rancher on the floor, unwrapped with a piece of lint from us. If you hit subscribe, don't forget to hit subscribe. Thank you guys. See ya. Love y'all.